Hi, Dr. Harrison here. In this quick video, I'll tell you why for a long time I couldn't save any money and what I've learned in the process. And lastly, I'll tell you if you actually want to save money, what you must do to be able to save money. Now, this big misconception is I can't save because I don't earn enough money. That's not really the reason why you can't save any money. It's about the expenses. Just walk with me here. Before you got your first job, you didn't, of course, probably didn't have enough money in your hands. Then you got your first job. Now you could do a lot of things. You could go to the cinema, you could go out, do whatever you wanted to do back then, and you were happy. You felt like you had a lot of money in your hand at that moment. Not too long after that, just maybe a couple of months after, it was no longer enough. And then you got a better job. With a better job, you had extra money in your hands. And then you started thinking, maybe I can move out, move out with my friends. Then you moved out of the house. The money was no longer enough. Now you have extra expenses like rent and all the bills. And then you got a better job. A car became attractive to you. And then you got a new car. And with all the expenses that goes with the car, that money was no longer enough. You see the pattern here? You're bringing in more money. You're bringing in more money. But not too long after, the money is no longer enough. What's happening is your expenses is growing as your income is growing. So the problem with people that have financial issues is that they let their expenses run wild. They don't control their expenses, and the expenses it just takes up the whole of the new income. Most people will recommend pay yourself first. In a lot of books I've heard this, but it's really hard to pay yourself first. See, why it was difficult for me to save is I get paid a certain amount of money and then I'm like, this is what I want to save at the end of the month. Very ambitious. And I take that out of my income, my salary, whatever, and then dump it somewhere. Now I'm smiling. I'm happy. I have savings. Then I go off, do whatever I want for the rest of the month. Just before the end of the month, I realize, ooh, I haven't paid this bill, that bill, and the other bill. Then I start running back to where I kept my money. I know this is what happens with a lot of people. I've heard the stories over and over again. They run back to their bank account, to credit union, wherever they kept the money, and they bring it out to pay off the remaining bills. That happens over and over again, and then you realize, I really can't save. I try, but the money just goes at the end of the day. How do you actually save then? That advice is not wrong. Pay yourself first. But the issue with it is there are many steps before you have to pay yourself first. And when you skip those steps, that's where you have those issues. The first thing you have to do, we have to work it backwards now, okay? If you just work with me. We'll work it backwards to really, really be simple. Very easy for you to save after this. The first thing you must do, you have to know exactly how much is your expenses. You know how much is your income. For sure, okay? Assuming there's no overtime. I'm talking about those. I'm talking about the ones that recur every single month. You have to know. And that begins with having a list like this. 2 columns, okay? Just income and expenses, just like this. Okay, you know how much is your income. So put it up there on the screen, okay? That's your income. And then your expenses, list out everything that happens every single month in terms of your expenses. List them all out. And then you end up with one of these 3 situations. And if your expenses is bigger than your income, that's a red. It's a no-no. You're gonna have to cut back, or you're gonna have to do something real quick to go make more money. Get a better job, whatever you can do to make more money. You can't have more expenses than you have income. It's gonna end up in debt, and that's not a situation that you want. The second situation is if they're both the same. Your income is exactly the same as your expenses. That's something we can start to work with. First thing, you could, look at how you can take off things that you don't really need, things that are not essential. You can take them off and see if you can have, extra money. The third situation is if you actually, you have extra income and then you have less expenses. This is the situation you want. When you have that, then you can start thinking about paying yourself first. You see, these are the steps that people skip and they say these books, they don't work, trying to pay themselves first. you have to do what I just explained. You have to know how much is your income and how much is your expenses. Once you know that, then you can begin to think about how to pay yourself first. Let's go back to the second situation. If you have it equal on both sides, what you could do is you can start to reduce your expenses, what you don't actually need. There is no need to have Sky in every room in the house. When you also have Netflix and then you have other TV providers, there's no need to have SX things like that. If you feel like you have things that are just lying around you don't really need, but you're paying for it every month, cancel those things and then see what that brings you up to. I really don't like reducing standard of living, to be honest. When I tell people reduce your expenses, I'm very careful about that because it may start to make you live in a way that you don't really like. So first thing I would advocate is get a better job if you can, but keep everything the same in terms of expenses. That's the golden rule, okay? Keep the expenses the same, keep raising the income. But in this case, because we really need to get going, just reduce your expenses if you can. Second alternative is get a better job, bring in more money. Right, okay, you've done this now, you're happy now, you've canceled some programs. In some way, you've managed to make sure that you have more income than your expenses. You can look at your income side of things and decide from what's actually left, how much can I put away religiously every single month, okay? Every single month, religiously and comfortably put away what suits you. Don't over push it, otherwise before the end of the month you'll be running back to your bank account to collect that money. So it has to be something that you're comfortable with, that you can put away every single month and you're happy with, and you won't really bother you. This is where people make mistakes now. You don't decide what you're gonna save every month by your salary. Just because you get paid 3,000, you think you want to save 500. What if you get to the end of the month, you realize you still have bills that you haven't paid? That 500, you can't save it because you don't know your expenses. So once you know your expenses, you know how much is left. Then you decide how much you can actually save. So let's say now you've decided how much you can save every month and you religiously put that away every single month. You don't have to run back every month to go get that money out. That's my best remedy for how to save. You work it backwards, start with your expenses. Know how much you get paid, good. You also have to know how much is your expenses, and then you can then decide from what's left, only from what's left, not from what you got paid. It's from what's left after your expenses. That's when you decide how much you're gonna put away. If you can do this comfortably every month, I guarantee you, because I've tried it, it works every single time. You'll be able to save and you no longer have issues of dry bank account. This is my remedy for not being able to save, and this comes from just reading other books and actually trying it, and then I see where it's not working, why it wasn't working, and then I was able to fix it. So leave a comment, leave a thumbs up if this actually helps you in terms of saving and in general, okay? And if there's any topic that you'd like to hear about, leave a comment down below and we'll look into it. Thank you very much.